Now that we've done so, we're going to go to the front of the center console where the ashtray was. You'll see that there's these two covers, one on each side, and I'll show you what they look like. And you're going to have to remove it on the opposite side. It pretty much just pops right out, and it goes in the same way. You know when it's in properly because it just clicks in. Now we have our T40 screws in here. These do not come out. Once again, I repeat, these do not come out. What you're going to do is you're going to loosen them. So get your ratchet and your T40 Torx socket, and what you're going to do is you're going to loosen them. As you can see when you do so, that the center console starts coming apart from the dashboard. You're going to see it's going to widen the gap on there. Now, if you look underneath the AC push buttons, they're going to be two T20 Torx screws. This is where we get our Torx screwdriver, a T20 Torx screwdriver, and we're going to have to take these out. This is what holds the front of this center console in place. And I'm just going to speed right through this. Once you've gotten those out, it should look like that. Now our center console should be pretty much loose. I'm going to lift up on the rear section. And you're going to see it's pretty much loose. Now if you're having a problem kind of like how I am, it doesn't totally want to come out, I once again loosened these T40s, and you see that the gap becomes even wider now. And you're pretty much going to want to continue doing that until you lift in the rear and it just pretty much separates, just like mine is doing. And then you're going to lift it up in the rear slightly, pull it towards the rear, and then once you do so, you pull the front side of it upwards like I'm doing. Now we got to disconnect this cigarette lighter connector. This is where we use our pocket screwdriver. Just makes it easier to get in there. Alright, so we've taken off that connector. You have some insulation here. You can return that. Just place it back in there. Now we have these harness you just pretty much unclip from their center console, and I'll show you where these connect to, and they go towards the front right passenger area. And I'll show you what you do to access these. You're gonna pretty much just pull back on the your carpet area right here. This one's a little bit dirty, but then what you do is you expose the two wires. This is for your roadside. It's like pretty much like an antenna wire. Just loosen it. It's kind of like your cable TV antenna wire. And your next one is going to look like it's going to have a phone jack. And I'll pull it up and show you exactly what it looks like and where to disconnect it. And it's exactly like a phone jack. You just press the tab and it looks exactly like a phone jack. And now our center console should be loose and ready to take out. And from there on, you could pretty much just take it apart. There's not much you can take apart. Unfortunately, most of the pieces you would need the whole center console for it. Only several pieces you could really take off. Not too many though in this one. Another thing I'm going to show you is things to watch out when putting it back in. as you can see here, these pieces that stick out, they're like your guides, and that's what guides the center console back in place. I'm going to show you where you have to put that in. If you see where the circle is, that's where that guide has to go in. I'll show you, it has it on both sides. You have to make sure that goes in place or it's not going to fit. I'm going to show you how to release this shifter in case it does get stuck in you. Here is that tab we talked about earlier. You push it in, and as you can see, the shifter moves. You can put it in any position you want. Now what I do is I stick these wires in the shifter just so I remember, and I can see them once the console is back in place. I'm going to move the shifter so I could put the center console in. It's kind of tough to do if it's in park. Now I'm laying the center console in, and I'm going to want to make sure that that guide goes into the round area. And remember, before you do this, you got to connect those two harness pieces on the right side, passenger side. I've done that already. Now you're going to want to connect your cigarette lighter. So you have your cigarette lighter, your two connectors for your shifter, and the two connectors for your ashtray. Now another thing you're going to want to look for is you're going to want to slide it upwards until you can't no more. You get it pretty close, but as you can see, it's still a gap on there. Another thing you can look for is right here by the ashtray. You're going to want to make sure that's sitting flush. There's like another set of guides, and if it's not sitting flush, it's going to be sitting upwards. So make sure that's flush. Make sure it's flush in the front. Now you use your T40 Torx, and it's going to close the gap. You see? And then the same thing on the opposite side. And that's pretty much it, guys. Stay tuned for all the videos. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please just reply, subscribe, or just comment. So that's it, guys. Thanks.